Hi, my name is Craig Moore. I'm an instructional designer for AEA Learning Online. We're going to look at the Scaffolded Career Pathways and some of the resources that are available through AEA Learning Online to the state at no cost to districts, teachers, students, and such. So the first thing we're going to look at here is this continuum. And there's 7 steps here, and they don't have to be done linearly, but when you consider them linear, in a linear fashion, they build upon one another. And it all comes from this idea that currently most schools do career exploration, and the goal is that that leads to better, more informed career decisions. In our work with school districts, we see that there's actually more steps to this than just the idea that career exploration leads to better decisions. And as we get more immersive, the students get more prepared for their decision, and as they're working through each of these steps, they're becoming more informed to figure out if the pathway that they're on is something that they truly are interested in. So if we go back to these 7 steps, you'll notice at the bottom there are the colors. So these colors down here, they relate to the work-based learning manual continuum provided by the Department of Ed. And, the idea is that career awareness starts pretty young through things like classroom speakers, career fairs, really just being a kid, you start to realize that there are careers that exist. And intermediary units are great resources to support this classroom or career awareness, And once you become aware that there are careers, then you kind of start to explore careers. And you get a little bit deeper into them. So you might go on a field trip or a business tour. You can see the list here. The Holland Code, you might do some of these things through a career assessment. So through Cooter, through career cruising, through Naviance, or things of the like. What we at AEA Learning Online have been working on are really these next 3 steps. So the idea that once you do some exploration, now can you start to get your hands dirty with an authentic project? And an authentic project leads into an investigative learning module, and those modules lead into professional trainings, which lead into authentic experiences, and then really students are in a pretty good spot to make a more informed career decision, if they've gone through certain parts of this or they get into them. So we'll go through authentic projects.
Walk through a little bit of the site, and some of you guys may be familiar with it already, and some may have never heard of it before. So hopefully we can kind of cover all the bases a little bit. So the site was launched last summer, last July, and it came about as an idea to increase the kind of equity and opportunity of all schools and all students to reach out and connect with business partners around projects and work-based learning experiences. And so we kind of got the ball rolling with an executive order back in 2018. We launched the site in July, and so we're really just in our second semester of of getting this clearinghouse up and rolling. And so we know that there's still lots of improvements and things that we can continue to add to the site, and I'll kind of share a few of those at the end, some of our future enhancements and things that we've got planned. But what is out here currently is a site where businesses and schools can both come and try to make connections around all sorts of work-based learning all across the spectrum, with a real kind of focus or an emphasis on the authentic learning projects. And so we're here on the homepage. You can this is a good place if you're talking to someone, or if you yourself are just kind of wondering, like, what does this really look like when we talk about work-based learning? Why would someone do it? Or what does it look like to get involved? There's a lot of resources here just kind of on the main page that you can kind of either share with others or consume yourself. Down here you can kind of see it's got some different motivations for the different groups, and we've got some different success stories. And if you want more, we have a whole page actually of success stories. If you click on this, we've got some different videos where we touch base and hear from students who have done this, teachers who are doing this, business partners who have engaged. And so those are great to help build a picture for yourself of what this can look like, but also to share with others, whether that be teachers, staffs, or business partners who you're talking to and trying to help them understand what this can look like. Because as I've talked to a lot of business partners, getting over that first hump is helping them understand that when we're talking about this type of work-based learning, this authentic learning, a majority of this happens in the classroom. So we're not really talking about, job site visits, or at least not a lot of the work being done on the job site. This is classroom type activities. And so there's some different resources here under the success stories that can help people understand that. There's also stuff here under this, how does it work? If you go there, for each group, for each kind of the stakeholder groups, students, teachers, and then business partners, it kind of walks them through, like, what does this process look like if I do want to get involved? What are the steps I need to take to get through that? So that's kind of, if you want some, if you still have questions and you want to kind of backfill a little bit, those are some resources you can do to kind of fill in some of those gaps. But I'm just going to jump in and show that kind of the two main pieces of the clearinghouse are the project board and the business partner inventory, and they're both linked here at the top of the page. And I'll start really briefly with the business partner inventory. It is really straightforward. It is really just a database of business contact information. We gathered this information through a survey that was done by Iowa Workforce Development, and this was done a year ago. And so it's out here. We've got about 1,500 records. And these are businesses who specifically said either they're already doing some type of work-based learning or they're interested in doing some type of work-based learning. And they can check boxes and what they're interested in, and that shows up here in the interests column. And then they can give a little description of their business or just a 1 or 2 word industry sector that they're in. But you can search through this and kind of find maybe ideas of businesses to reach out to if you're trying to kind of build up partner pool of like who you could reach out to and maybe approach about doing projects with. You can layer these if you want these searches. So you could say, I'll put in a zip code here, and so show me any businesses within 50 miles of that. And so that'll whittle it down. And then I'll say, well, show me ones that have just said, they want to do a career fair, and then it's going to whittle it down even further. And, now I'm down to 26 entries who are meeting both of those and down in Mrs. Way, Southwest Iowa. But you can put it in another one. You could say manufacturing, and then see what, now you're down to 2. But that's kind of a way that you can kind of build some warm leads of trying to find businesses maybe in your area to approach. So that's what the business partner inventory is. Pretty straightforward. The bigger and kind of the more showcase piece is the project board. And so if you come out to the project board, you can see that it is a kind of like a pin board with each of these tiles being a project that a business partner has posted and is looking for a school to work with on. You can scroll through, there's about 140 projects out there right now. All of these are live projects that a business has shared and is willing to work with a school on. And so there are a few, I guess I will say, just a handful, like 10 or so, that have this blue tile that says outbound school seeking partner. These are projects going in the other direction. These are posted by a school where a teacher had the idea and said, this is a project I really want to do. Here's what it looks like. I'm just looking for a business contact who wants to be our partner. And I know that this is going to be an area that we'll have more and more interest in. And so we're actually building in some improved workflow and some improved functionality for teachers who are interested in posting these types of projects. Because right now it's kind of clunky. They have to go through me to get that out there. But we're working with our developers, and that should be coming out in the next month or 2, where it's easier for a teacher just to have an idea and post it and say, looking for that business partner. Because then we can kind of help and step in and say, okay, we've got this great idea from a teacher. We can kind of communicate this out through our networks and help extend that reach and help them find that business partner to do the project with. But again, you can search using all these different fields or drop downs up here. Use either keywords or zip code, within a certain radius of that. There's academic domain. And then this one, I'll call attention to this one. We've got a checkbox here that says active. It will default to checked, which just means that everything that you're seeing right now is a live project. A real project opportunity. If you choose to uncheck it, now you'll see more things on the board, but it will include some things that are not projects. So it'll include projects that have already gone by, projects in the past, maybe projects that someone has posted that isn't going to be live for a while yet, or it will also post. It'll also include these orange or salmon, whatever color this is, take and bake project ideas, which are project, just what it says. It's a project idea. There is no business associated with it, and there's no school associated with it. Really, it's just a project idea that someone saw. It could have been myself or Laura or different AEA consultants across the state who've had contribute some of these. Just good project ideas that are out there as kind of a thought starter or an inspiration that you could then take this and show it to a business, or if you already have the business, we'll copy it and we'll get it so it's posted from that business. So it's just kind of an easier sell, I guess, if you're talking to businesses where you can say, listen, I've got this idea. Are you interested in doing this? And then they can just say, yep. As opposed to trying to say, what's your idea for a project? And then sometimes they can get kind of tricky for a business if they don't have the idea or know quite the best thing that they could do to connect with schools. I'm going to recheck that. But so as you come through here, everything I showed you so far is a public page, so anyone can come along and look at this. Teachers, students, general public, whatever. When you get in and you find something, a project that you like, this is I think our newest project. This comes from Ruan here in Des Moines. They are looking for a student group to do some sort of research and analysis around using Raspberry Pi computing devices to replace their PC computers that they purchase for every employee. They're trying to see if Raspberry Pi would be a more economical option that would still provide all the functionality that they need.
Investigative learning modules. These are things that are found on the Student Personalized Learning System, or the SPLS. This is, you can log into it. You use the same login that you use for your mandatory reporter training and your AEA login. Here are some companies that we've worked with to develop these investigative learning modules. So Hy-Vee, we're working with them on a logistics module. Iowa Society of CPAs for kind of the pathway to become a CPA and the opportunities that are available in the career path, not just being a CPA, but also like different levels of it. IMTA, so this is one we built for trucking and diesel mechanics. We also built TMC. That's just a very large company, also trucking and diesel mechanics. Concrete, so Iowa ICPA, Iowa Concrete Paving Association, and the Ready Mix Association collaboratively developed this for careers that are available in the concrete industry. Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, it's a statewide association, again, for careers available in plumbing, heating, and cooling. Agribusiness, we built one here for kind of the science of runoff. We're currently working on a 3-module build with Mid-American for an in-depth look at natural gas, utility electric, and then wind power as well. So what are the career options that are available in those fields? Home Builders Association, we looked at 7 of the largest opportunities, in construction. Iowa ALN, so kind of looking at the advantage of being connected and having networks, kind of communications based. Again, with the Communications Alliance is similar. FFA, they're collaboratively building one with Mid-American on wind power and how you have to work with the agriculture side of things in order to provide wind power. Casey's is similar to Hy-Vee in the logistics. There's more supply chain. And then Iowa State with some IT content. So let's take a look at a couple of these. Here are some screenshots. This one on the left is from Home Builders Association. And here, this is just one of the early pages that kind of outlines these are the opportunities that are available in construction. And then, like I said, we dig into 7 of those. Over here in Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, in this module, we kind of take 2 paths, the first path being plumbing and the second half being heating and cooling. So we kind of decipher between the two there. Here are some additional screenshots. So one of the things that we're looking for, we want student feedback, and if they voluntarily fill this out, this is kind of what separates these modules from typical career exploration, if they fill this out, they get in contact with the statewide association, and the association will get a hold of the closest trucking company, using their zip code. So not only does a student fill out, some information and they're contacting IMTA, but then there's also kind of the local company is contacting the student and saying, hey, if you're interested in this, we'd like to bring you in. We'd like to kind of show you what's going on. The idea is that we're focusing our resources on students that are interested, rather than just saying, hey, I'm going to go talk to a class of 200 and maybe get one student. Let's use the same resources on that one student and really make a difference for them and give them an idea of what's going on in the trucking industry. This is from plumbing, heating, and cooling. We also strive to make them interactive, so you're going to learn some things, but then you're also going to be, engaging in content. This one specifically is a drag and drop, essentially to make sure that you're checking what you've learned. If students don't want to do it, they can just click next. But the idea is, if you're just clicking next, then this industry is probably not for you. We outline scholarships that are available, so not just the opportunities, but also resources to help you with those opportunities. And then one of the biggest things, this one is from HBAI, so this is the page on the electricians, and the goal is that instead of telling a student just go do something, we're providing them the links so that if they want to do the ABC apprenticeship, they can just click right here and apply for it. If they want some additional information, some contact information, they can, if they're from Dubuque, they can get some additional information here, or they can apply right for the program as a part of completing this module. So the Student Personalized Learning System, if you go here, you're just going to log in, and if I'll sign in with my same account, but you're going to use your teacher email, and then you'll log in with your account here. And now you're in the Personalized Learning System. If you just click Catalog, the tag for these modules is just Career. So if you just type in Career, you're going to see statewide modules. And while not all of them are the new builds where they're actually connected to the organization or the company, we have more than the new builds essentially. But if we look in these, I referenced HBAI, I referenced IMTA. Natural gas and utility electric. These are ones that are just coming online here as we develop them. PHCC is another one we talked about, TMC. So, there are some older ones in here, but the newer ones provide more of a connection than those older ones do. So our goal is to get at least one of these industry-sponsored modules in each of the 16 career clusters. And as we work to meet that goal, we're making them more robust than what we have previously done. We'll go back here. This is what it looks like from the student end. So the Student Personalized Learning System, it's one of a kind modular system. It's the only one in the country that's built this way, and it's unique to Iowa. It's home built. So the goal is that we're supporting student-centered learning, where they're choosing what they get to take rather than necessarily telling them. As a teacher, you have the option to assign a module to a student or to a group of students, or the student can click on electives and they have the opportunity to take these modules without the teacher assigning them to them. When we can think of our continuum here and we go to professional trainings, here are other things that are also available in the Student Personalized Learning System, where, can we start doing these trainings that are relevant to a career pathway while a student's figuring out if the career pathway is for them? An example, when I was in teacher preparation at UNI, maybe I was naive in this, but I had no idea you took mandatory reporter. Well, as a student, if I knew I wanted to be a teacher or was considering it, I can do those kind of trainings earlier on. I don't have to wait till I'm student teaching in order to take mandatory reporter. Those are things I can do early on. Plumbing, heating, and cooling, and HBAI, we can start doing OSHA 10. Here are some other examples of modules that we have. So we have first aid, AED, CPR training. We have a ServSafe module. It doesn't give them the certification. That's something that they aren't willing to part with, but it gives them the content. So if they were to go through the module, then they could take the certification. They'd have to pay for it through ServSafe, but they would get that training or that certification then. We've also got some in resume writing, cover letters, some skills, and some stress management. So here we talked about bloodborne pathogens. We also have that. Mandatory reporter. OSHA 10, this is something that, if a business were to hire a new employee, they're going to have to pay them 10 hours, plus they're going to have to pay the enrollment for this course. And at a community college, these enrollments are about $150. And if you're paying somebody, for 10 hours, let's say they're making $20 an hour, that's $200 plus, so that's $350 for a student to take this. We have it on our system for $25. We have some students that pay for it. We also have some districts that just pay for it for their students who want to do that training. HIPAA is another one we came up with. When I say we came up with, what happened was at Spencer, they have a good relationship with their hospital, and one of the hurdles that they had was the kids they'd go to the hospital, and the first thing they did was sit in a classroom and learn about HIPAA. So we developed the HIPAA training with them so that now students can do the HIPAA training on their own or as a part of school. And now when they go to the hospital, they're doing things that are specific to being in a hospital rather than doing what they could have done, before they got there. Again, those are all found on the student personalized learning system. And these kind of all culminate with an authentic experience. Again, I want to stress that intermediary units are great places to look for this. Iowa Works is another great place to look for these. Internships, on-the-job trainings, your apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships. They don't have to be a formal program like a registered apprenticeship, but they should be longer than, if we look over in career exploration, like a job shadow. These should be, at minimum a couple of weeks where they're getting a more immersive experience in the field, learning about the problems and such that these types of careers deal with on a daily basis. And the idea is, you've gone through these things, you've identified a career, you've done an authentic project. From that authentic project, you completed an investigative learning module or multiple. You could do multiple of each of these. Those led you to some trainings, and then those led you to a more immersive experience. Here's some examples of places that we've worked to, school districts we've worked with to develop some of these steps. Quick reminder, our goal is to help districts get over hurdles. So whenever a district, we're working with a district, we try to identify problems, and we work with them to beat those problems, to overcome them. The goal is, if we're doing them for the districts today that are kind of leading the charge, we're really doing it for all districts as more and more come on board. We talked about our Spencer example. There's a little bit more to that. This is Boone Edge, so some of what they're doing with their meat cutting apprenticeship at Fairway. And then Career Academy at Pella, they have 4 registered apprenticeships, and we help them kind of build a monitoring system for those. Here's that monitoring system where students get enrolled in this course, and this course has competencies. So in this example, a student would be enrolled in welding competencies, and then over here, as the competencies are completed, these boxes turn green, and the student themselves are uploading the evidence of meeting that competency. So one of the competencies is like a 3/8" TIG weld. Well, they can actually have a video. They can just use their phone. Their mentor can do it. And they can video somebody doing that weld, and then the student can upload that video, and upon upload and approval, that box turns green. So not only do they know where they're at in the program, they also know what to do next, and they have essentially a portfolio or repository of all of the things they've done along the way. With Spencer, this is what they were currently doing. So you can see here they had kind of 4 steps, and they were using Cooter for their exploration. They were using some in-house curriculum for the next step, for a deeper dive. And then they had some, 3 and 4, they had some of these things set up as well. What we were able to do was come in and provide more content for them, help them in building portfolios, help them with their employability soft skills. So there's some modules on those. And then we were also able to get some of those professional trainings like that HIPAA training completed as well. Some of the things that we offer, so as a part of our authentic learning suite, We have platform support, so we have the Student Personalized Learning System, Clearinghouse. That's where you're going to find your authentic projects. Over here we have some face-to-face courses like what you're taking now. We also have some workshops that are kind of abbreviated versions of the course. We have the Educator Blueprint and the Business Partner Toolkit, and those are really meant to help teachers or help businesses kind of along the way. And our project support of this is kind of what Laura's doing, Stephanie's doing, Jake's doing in terms of creating projects and getting things that are useful to the schools. When we look down here at our learning opportunities, these are the 4 steps that we're really working on: the authentic projects, the investigative learnings, the professional trainings, and authentic experiences. This one, we definitely want to encourage the connection to the Intermediary Unit and Iowa Works. They have wonderful experiences for students. And then we also have this networking piece where, those of you that are taking this course can be a part of a network, and your program can be a part of a larger network where you learn from each other or you share resources as things develop.